Vietnam has identified as an East Asian society since at least the 15th century. To be East Asian is to be inherently Confucian. Originating in China over 25,000 years ago as a moral philosophy, Confucianism spread to Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Singapore to become a foundational basis of these societies. Confucianism comprises 1/3 of the great triad of Asian thought, along with Buddhism and Taoism. Confucius was a cultural and economic relativist who encouraged tolerance and diversity, and, as such, is also amenable to other beliefs. Indeed, in Vietnam, it has sometimes been disseminated through Buddhist temples. Today we can also throw communism and capitalism into the mix. But what is Confucianism? Confucianism is a humanist philosophy whose goal is to create fair and equitable societies capable of constraining the excesses of those with power. The Penguin Modern History of Vietnam tells us that Confucian thought offered an idea of enlightened monarchy, good governments, and social harmony. Confucianism enabled the development of centralized bureaucratic states with a modern civil service and examination system. Students of this system learn techniques and guiding principles for regulating state and society. Under Confucianism, people can manage their own affairs if they act with integrity, think independently, and with empathy and respect toward others. A person is defined by the quality of their relationships. In referring to Confucius, we are referring to the best in ourselves as social beings. Power can only be derived from character, and one should lead by example. If we are able to do this, then we may come to live in harmony with those around us. Confucianism does not promote belief in God or an afterlife. Confucius taught that humans are perfectible. We derive from a more perfect past. We can connect with this past by studying ancient texts. These texts originated from indigenous spiritual traditions. They form part of, but are not the core of Confucian teaching. Believing that tradition and custom unify people, he aimed to create social order and cohesion. The good times of old are still attainable. Drawing on his study of texts, Confucius was able to devise the founding principles of Chinese thought. These principles were developed into forms of philosophical discourse by later figures such as Mencius and the Neo-Confucianists. Mencius, for example, taught that humans are innately virtuous. In life, we are encouraged to cultivate and guide our thoughts and actions with benevolence, propriety, good judgment, and a sense of respect for others. If people could achieve this, then society would order itself, and there would be little need for law and regulation. If the people are good, then society will be good. But if the people are without virtue, then no government can cure the evils of the world. Confucian teachings provided a basis for Chinese education and was integrated into the Chinese civil service. The ethical character of the leadership is important. As Confucius said, "As the wind blows, so the grass bends." This means that the people will follow the example set by their leaders. If the leadership is corrupt, then the people will be corrupt. Social and economic poverty is a sign of poor leadership. To correct this, the Confucian examination system promoted leaders of ability and virtue. Advancement was based on merit rather than political, family, aristocratic, or military connections. Ideal leaders would be poets who exercised soft power. The legitimacy of the state lay in its service to and for the people. Empowered by East Asian values, from 1470, the Dai Viet people of the north adopted a civilizing mission, pushing south from their homeland around the Red River toward the Gulf of Thailand to create what would eventually become Vietnam. Impressed by the ability and industry of the Vietnamese bureaucracy, the French colonialists employed them to administer its Indo-Chinese empire. During the course of the 20th century, the impact of colonialism and globalization led to a diminishment of Confucianism. Between 1840 and 1919, the French dismantled the Confucian examination system in Vietnam. But as this happened, East Asian thinkers began to assert the undesirability of the Western ethos. Western liberal democracies were seen as being too fractious and disorderly to create stable societies. In contemporary China, for example, Confucianism is now increasingly upheld as a means of protecting social stability. In 1969, a former head of the Colonial Academy in Paris declared that Ho Chi Minh was the heir to the Confucian tradition of resistance culture in Vietnam. And in accordance with the great teaching, Ho Chi Minh was also a poet.
Sorry.
Other 20th century Vietnamese intellectuals such as Nguyen Van Thu and Tran Trong Kim looked to a renovated Confucianism as a humanism capable of reconciling the community and the individual in new national forms. For them, Vietnam can create an indigenous form of modernity based on Confucian ideas, one to fully embody the land, language and culture that the Vietnamese people love.